Earlier this year, Facebook's parent company, Meta, predicted that Apple's ad tracking changes would cost the company $10 billion in ad revenue this year. Facebook spent years building the world's largest social media platform. But personal data, which was once considered its biggest asset, has become a liability amid privacy crackdowns. As a result, changes to Facebook's main feed have begun rolling out as we record this in late July 2022. The platform has begun filtering out content based on personal connections from the primary home screen in favor of content it predicts users will like based on predictive algorithms. And the Facebook experience will begin to look more like a content and product discovery engine than a social networking site as a result. So are these significant changes to Meta's business model an overreaction or necessary based on the incontrovertible new reality? To gain insights, we turn once again to our proprietary data.
The latest NuVoodoo digital media study was fielded June 5 and 6 with 5,495 14 to 54-year-olds across the nation. It's been a little over a year since Apple started empowering iPhone owners with more precise control over their location, data, browser, and history. And we've been seeing a continued decline of the consumer's inclination to allow tracking ever since. The portion of our total sample opting into allowing tracking often or always has plummeted from 37% in June 2021 to 31% this past January to 25% this past June. And those claiming to allow tracking only rarely, if ever, has popped from 28% to 46% to 51% in the same time period. Millennials are slightly more likely to trade their personal data for a better ad experience and the greater convenience offered by device tracking, with about 3 in 10 opting in off always or often. But heading for half this group make the opposite choice of rarely or never allowing apps to track them. Generations X and Z are even more cautious, with tracking opt-in rates of often to always at only about 1 in 5 and 1 in 4 respectively, and those claiming to opt out of tracking much of the time grow to nearly 3 in 5 among Gen Xers. With fewer allowing tracking, advertising messages are less likely to be precisely matched to consumers based on their digital fingerprints. So, with less relevance comes lower ad engagement. We asked respondents to rate how often they pay attention to advertising across different channels, with scores of 5 or 6 on a 6-point scale rating high on the engagement scale. Nearly all ad platforms have slipped in this attention metric over the past 6 months as lives have more consistently started to resume a greater degree of pre-pandemic normalcy across the country. Ad effectiveness in form of attention paid is very much driven by generation. YouTube and Google are as close to consensus choices as we can find, with roughly 1 in 3 across the board paying frequent attention to advertising on these platforms. Since most ad campaigns on Meta result in placements on both Instagram and Facebook, we'll go ahead and count them as a third cross-generational performer in high ad engagement. But from there, we splinter. Nearly a third of millennials and Gen X's, for example, still pay close attention to traditional TV ads, whereas Generation Z's attention for YouTube ads nearly doubles the engagement generated by broadcast and cable ads. Meanwhile, traditional advertising channels such as direct mail, radio, and billboards just don't deliver nearly the quality engagement metrics found on the top 3.
Technology that increases advertising relevance is the wave of the future in digital advertising. As Facebook evolves away from ad solutions based on curated personal data, we expect more opportunities for brands to advertise adjacent content that attracts large numbers of the type of consumer they covet. While we wait for those opportunities, today NuVoodoo can find viewers in real time before they watch videos that interest them. We use audio recognition technology to understand what's being spoken inside video content before pre-roll advertising runs next to it. This is the way we find the most contextually relevant ad placements for our clients. Want to learn more about how NuVoodoo contextual AI ad tech can improve engagement in your next campaign? Reach out to me, Roger Malinowski, at tellmemore@nuvoodoo.com. I'm glad to help.